And now, coming to you live from the TNN headquarters, located in the boozy capital of Dunmoreau, it's that brand new Grobbulous program that brings you news coverage, talk, interviews, and even a few surprises. It's the sensational Gabbin on Grobb. Hosted by Grobb's sassy short stack, the spectacular Tiny Traveler. Joined by their special co-host, the ever-humble Ave. Announcer and man behind the cam, Keldrick. And featuring special guest, you might have seen him in Stormwind, he's dead but doesn't know it, Eddie. And now, time for Gabbin on Grobb.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining me, Tiny, here on Gabbin on Grobb, and as you know, I'm joined by my co-host, Ave. Ave, it's fantastic for you to be here with me again today on our second episode of Gabbin on Grobb.
I'm so excited to be here too. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, actually, I wanted to bring up the fact that we touched lightly on it in our first episode about your involvement with the Daily Deviant as one of the editors. How long have you been an editor for the Daily Deviant?
The Daily Deviant itself is an RP newspaper that has been around since the start of Classic, but we don't just only cover RP topics and events, though we do love those. We also will cover PvP, arenas, raiding, other momentous occasions. Basically, our purpose is to cover, to explore, to celebrate the way that people play this game and the enjoyment that people have within the community of it. The majority of our content is reader submitted. We do have a few people who have been very kind to submit serial articles across a variety of topics. And I am the point of contact for Grobbulous server, though we are cross-server and we do accept submissions from other servers. The majority of our staff, our proofreader, our graphic designer, myself, and our editor-in-chief are actually on Grobbulous.
Oh, I absolutely love your paper. I've read every issue that's ever come out. It's one of the few things I look forward to every month that comes from our community. And you know what? It's just a delight to see it. The pictures, the quality of content that comes out of there, it's just top notch. You guys work really hard for that.
It's really a team effort. Like, it couldn't be done without the effort of everybody involved. Our editor-in-chief, Bacteria, our other editor, Dominatrix, our graphic designer, Moria, our proofreader, Dia, and all of the writers that submit their work every month. It's a celebration of everyone's efforts.
And so with the paper, you advertise a lot of the local events that would be happening around our server on Grobbulous. Does that include things like Grobbapalooza? Will we be seeing an article coming next month?
Yes, Grobbapalooza is coming up on the 9th of September. We're super excited for it. It's going to be my first time attending, so it's going to be really fun, and I hope that we have such a great turnout.
If I'm not correct, that's actually Friday, September 9th. It should be 5 p.m. server time that we're going to see that party kick off. Well, I'm really excited. I actually am planning on making my way there and capturing a little bit of video.
It's going to be great.
So if anybody's interested in joining, that looks like it's going to be Grobbapalooza, Friday, September 9th, 5 p.m. Server time. That would likely be around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for anybody East Coast. And it's going to be apparently held in Chatrath City. I think that is a good way for us to introduce the man of the hour, the man we're going to be bringing on today, who is a party in and amongst himself. It is Eddie. Have you heard about Eddie, Ave?
Actually got to meet Eddie briefly.
You've actually
in
got
Stormwind.
I could never find. I've seen his emotes once in the wild, and I went looking drastically for him, and I couldn't cross the corner, couldn't come around the corners fast enough.
It was very exciting for me. I love Eddie, and he's always fun to be around.
Well, we're going to have him on the show today, and let's all give a round of applause for Eddie. Everybody, please, give it up for Eddie.
He's a friend to most, undead to the rest, an unliving legend, Eddie the Undead. Part of the Cool Alliance Guild, and often found wandering the streets, Eddie is a landmark role player on Grobbins. Give it up for Eddie.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Eddie. This is fantastic. We are so privileged to have you as a guest here on Gabbing on Grobb.
I'm absolutely thrilled to be here.
When I mentioned to the staff, actually, that we were having you on for this month's episode, everybody got so excited. The room lit up. Everybody knew who you were. But you know what? The biggest thing is that there's a lot of communities out there, and not everyone's involved in the roleplay community. Why don't you do us a big favor and introduce yourself and your character for us?
Well, first of all, there's the sweetest thing I've ever heard. Absolutely make me so happy that people know who I am. I am Eddie. I am a normal human man living in Stormwind. I like to fish and hang out with my totally human friends.
Now, there's a subplot about Eddie that almost everybody knows about you, which has become legendary. And it's something to do with the fact that you don't know your...
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about. That's right. Exactly. Now, the fact of the matter is that most people have met you where? In Stormwind, correct?
In general, when I'm in Stormwind, I am either fishing outside of the stockades or looking for whatever other random mischief I can get myself into while avoiding the guards who seem to hate me for some reason.
Well, yeah, it's strange, isn't it? We still haven't figured that out. Eddie, I'm super excited to have you on as my guest, and we're going to have Ave here start with the first question. Ave, why don't you take it away?
How did you come to arrive at Stormwind?
I woke up one day in some stinky green crypt somewhere. Don't know what happened. Maybe some horrible bender one night. And up in Lordaeron, you know the place. And, made my way back down to Stormwind.
Well, yeah, we've all had those evenings, where you've had a little bit too much of the grog, and you end up in Lordaeron. I mean, it's just, it's one of those things. I think everyone goes through that. How do you pull this off mechanically in game? Are you using any special programs? Are you using any special overlays?
Oh gosh, nobody knows about this. This is top level information here. My add-on, to my knowledge, has every possible letter and letter combination up to like 2 or 3 letters that you can do for every single vanilla language. It was entirely built from me and a friend of mine sitting in a little hut outside of Orgrimmar, just talking to each other.
Oh, really? And going through the paces, going through each individual emotes and each individual lettering and figuring out which one did what.
Oh, God. Bringing up a Unicode table and pasting in, like, Sanskrit letters and Korean, everything. Any little thing that would translate to potentially a new letter.
That is the coolest thing I've ever heard. Now, you have taken it to the extent. That is so awesome. It was all
in the name of RP.
Oh, I'm sorry to have to cut you off there, Tiny, but it seems like it's time for us to take a word from our sponsor.
We actually have to take a pause for a commercial break, so we'll be right back with these messages from our sponsors.
Settle in close, because you're about to hear of the hottest deal this year. That's right, you can get your hands on your very own Richard S. Sleuth paraphernalia, like the official Charlie Rotskin rim cap, or the Richard S. Sleuth pocket flask. Find your local purveyor today to grab the new Richard S. Sleuth character dolls, each with up to 8 familiar phrases from the show.
If I ever get out of here, I'll shove your tusks up your ass.
Taste the fury of my secret SI-9 combat training! Hi-ya!
And for a limited time, if you collect and send in 10 UPC codes from specially marked packages, you can get your very own Richard S. Sleuth Gnomish Communicatron device set, so you and your friend can pretend to be SI-9's greatest assets. Warning, must be legal drinking age to enter. Toys contain small parts, not intended for children.
could 2 months' salary last forever? A diamond is forever. De Beers.
Welcome back from that sponsored break to Gabbin on Grobb with our hosts Tiny and Abe, here with our lively guest Eddie the Undead. Tiny?
And thank you, everyone, for holding for that sponsored break. We're actually back here with our guest today, Eddie. I would like to get back into the questions with you, Eddie. We were just recently discussing with you about your dedication towards roleplay and how far and the lengths you are willing to take it. But, Ave, I do believe you've got more questions for our guest today.
To follow up with that, have you ever inadvertently somewhat painted yourself into a corner with your RP backstory?
That's a really good question. Didn't really start with any sort of backstory. I just went in with a goal that I'm going to do silly little things with random people I meet in the world and let it progress from there. Whatever story may flourish from that, then I will embrace it and that'll just be what happens. And that's pretty much entirely what's happened.
Have you ever had someone respond completely unexpectedly to your RP?
I remember when I was leveling, maybe a week or two into the release of WoW Classic, I was in Tenaris, and there was a person safe spotting on the Gadget Sand arena, and it was Horde, and he kept griefing people, and there were a bunch of people trying to make the jump to get on top of it. It's a tricky little jump. I don't know if you've ever done it. I took it upon myself to role play, communicate cross faction how to make the jump with what limited words I had, translating you need to have a mount for this into need horse, and then pointing at somebody on a horse that they had to mount up to make this little jump.
That's
just
hilarious.
Little tiny things like that sit very neatly in my mind. It's nice little memories.
I love interactions like that.
They're the best.
Now, I want to bring this all to a wrap tonight, guys, because this has been such an excellent interview. I want to thank you once again, Eddie, for being our second guest here on Gabbin on Grobb. We couldn't be more honored to have you on our show and to share what you've shared with us tonight, because your dedication to the roleplay is legendary across our server, and I can't wait to see what happens with you in Wrath.
I absolutely look forward to Wrath. I don't know what it brings, and that's the exciting part for me.
Well, I also want to bring up, thank you so much, Abe, for once again being my lovely co-host this evening. It was great to have you.
It's always a pleasure, Tiny, and it was great meeting you too, Eddie.
It was great meeting you.
Thank you both so much, and we hope to see you all here on Gabbin on Grobb for next month when we have another surprise guest.
And that's all for the program this evening. This has been Gabbin on Grobb, hosted by Tiny Traveler and co-hosted by Abe, with our very special guest, Eddie. I've been Keldrick, and from all of us at TNN, take it one step at a time and stay safe out there. And if you want to be on Gabbin on Grobb, come down to the World's End Tavern in Shatrath City on September 10th at 6 p.m. server, 9 p.m. Eastern to be a part of our live studio audience. Again, that's September 10th at 6 p.m. server, 9 p.m. Eastern at the World's End Tavern in Shatrath City.